Hi, everyone. Welcome to A New View. I'm Juji, and I'm here with Lee, Shira, and Kim. We are four friends, speakers, and professionals from different cultures, backgrounds, and age groups coming together to offer healing and inspiration. So I wanted to talk about body image today because we talk about self-love all the time. That's literally what the show is about. And we approach it mostly from a spiritual perspective, from a self-development and growth perspective. But I wanted to see, where are we with body image, ladies? So who wants to start us off?
I'll chime in. I'll start from now, and then I'll kind of make my way backwards. I'm in love with my body right now. I just am. I feel that it's strong. I feel that it's healthy. I feel vitality, and I feel sexy, and I feel good about my body. Now, having said that, I have a ton of scars all over my body. I do. I have scars that used to bother me a little bit more, but they kind of I don't see them today. I don't see them because I have learned to love myself more. I also take pride in taking care of myself. So it has paid off for sure. So I'll go backwards now to, I guess, the time in my life where I had the most body image kind of challenges was probably when I was a teen, probably in my 15, 16. And for me, it started with acne. I developed acne when I was about, I guess, 15, 16, going through puberty and that whole thing, and hormones, we know then and now what hormones can do to us. But that was something that was a real body image, damper for me. It was something that I hated, something that I was ashamed of. I was embarrassed of it. I had to live with it for a couple of years. At one point it seemed like it was bad, and I got this treatment, and I took these things, and I tried to, I don't know, people were giving me advice on what to do, don't eat peanut butter, cut out all the fats or whatever. And what the hell did I know from fats at that age? I was clueless. But anyway, I grew out of that. And then I think, and for me, I also think that there were a couple of times in my life, I never was really overweight, but I absolutely did have a little bit of something extra that I did not like, and I think these things all come from advertising and marketing, and we're surrounded by it. We're bombarded with gorgeous, skinny, whether they're blonde, tall, thin, whatever models. And this is what we aspire to do, unfortunately, and it just kind of gets into our head. Although I got to say, my mom always told me I was beautiful. That was something I appreciated. But knowing that still, it doesn't matter sometimes what somebody says to you. If you're obsessed with something that you don't like, that's what you're thinking about.
Yeah, oh, sorry, Lee, I thought you were done.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that I feel like that, this campaign that Dove did, Dove for, real beauty, whatever the campaign is, and they show all different body types. And so I feel like there's more, obviously, with the internet and all of the stuff that's out there, there's more access to the real world, like how we're all have different body types and sizes and shapes and all of that, including different size boobs, as we all know. However, I think our eyes are still sort of drawn to this perfection of bodies, the way bodies should look. But who made that rule? Who said what should is? I don't know. I guess there's aesthetics involved. But the fact that your mother told you that you were beautiful growing up, I think is such an important anchor to this conversation, because I don't think parents fully understand the impact that their words, even one word, can have on a child. They can carry that with them. We've all talked about this, the impact of our words and certainly our actions and the way we look at ourselves as women. That's what we're showing our daughters. So every little like, ugh, my ass, and do I fit into this? And my eye is droopy. Like every time we bash ourselves, our daughters are hearing it, their friends are hearing it, your girlfriends are hearing it. Like you can't expect to have a positive self-image about your body if all you're doing is spending your mental real estate, bashing it and looking at the imperfection. And and I also feel like when I think back, I don't even remember if we had any like sex education or whatever when we were younger, but I remember being part of some like maturity night at Aiden's school when she was like, I don't know, 10. And it's like, they'll tell you about like tampons and you're going to start bleeding and this is why and cycles and all that shit, but they don't tell you. And then you're going to start hating yourself and like, you know, overeating or whatever, crying a lot. Like they don't give you like the real deal. And when we talk about teaching this stuff in school, like Kim, I know that you're talking to John, and you know we've all been involved in some form of education in schools. I think it is so critical to talk about this real stuff. That's just give them some sense of anticipation. It's not like you're going to, but you could start really internalizing and feeling bad about yourself, all of that. It's like, give kids the tools they need.
Right. Start them young. And what you said is key, but yeah, unfortunately some kids come from families where in the home they are put down, they are insulted, they are, you know, not supported in any way or encouraged or given positive feedback. And that is a shame. And that is something that can impact, obviously, a child for life, because sometimes it doesn't matter what the teachers say or what your mentor says. But if your mom or your dad or a sibling says, you know, you're ugly or you'll never whatever, you know, or you're fat, like it can scar deep.
I feel like for me, when I look back, it's not that it wasn't like reinforced in the home that I was pretty or whatever. It was that when we started, you know, becoming teenagers and girls together, like one of the things that starts happening is that girls start talking about each other. They start competing. And one of the things that I remember like really internalizing when I was a teenager is that one of the worst things to be called is conceited. That word was something to avoid at all cost. And so what makes you not conceited is talking poorly about yourself. So there's this scene in Mean Girls that I find so hilarious because you know, Lindsay Lohan's character was homeschooled. So she's coming into this world of teenage girls in high school with a totally like clean slate and fresh eyes. And it's so odd to her when the popular girls who are all perfect in her eyes, like line up in front of the mirror in the school bathroom and each point out something that they hate about themselves. Like my pores are huge, my nail beds are sucky, like whatever. And then they all look at her and they expect like, okay, what do you hate about yourself? Go. And she goes, I have really bad breath in the morning. And they're all like, ew, you know, and it's a parody of this, but oh my God, did that ring true for me? Like just this like self-hatred reinforcement over and over and over again. And you think like, I don't really think this about myself, but I'm going to say it so that nobody else can call me conceited. Like I have no concept of like what I'm supposed to look like at that age anyway. But it just like starts to really like chip away. And then you become an adult and you're like, yeah, I'm supposed to hate myself, right? Like that's just standard fare. Like I'm just supposed to not love who I am. And so it's interesting that Lee was saying like, now I can love myself. Now I love my body. I can feel sexy. And what that shows me is like, it's an inside job first. Because when you get like right with your soul, when you get right with like who you are and build that self-trust within yourself, it's like you recognize like, yeah, it is just a body, actually. Like this is just the vessel for who I truly am inside. And then you can start appreciating, like looking from the inside out instead of like, what is the messaging coming from the outside in? And like, what is this supposed to look like?
Mm.
Kim, your face. It's like, what do I say next?
It's interesting what's like happening to me right now. I'm actually feeling very emotional because Lee, you started talking, and when the first thing out of your mouth was like, I love my body. And I'm really envious of that. I'm really envious of that. I'm on this like self-love journey. And I think lately, like I'm in this very strange transitional place where what you just said, Juji, of like inside out, like Kim, the real Kim is not this outside body. It's not this skin that gets psoriasis. It's not anything like that. It's like, it's my soul and my love, right? It's my being. And I think for the first time in my life at 45, I'm like really starting to connect to that. And I'm really like doing a very deep dive into that because I'm struggling. Like I'm struggling. I have some like huge changes going on in my life. And yes, I can sit here and say, I think usually you might have said it when we were prepping for this call about like, well, sometimes when you just like, you're eating healthy, you're setting boundaries, you're exercising and your body, giving your body movement, you're doing all these right things that are healthy. So what the outside looks like doesn't matter. You're doing all these healthy things. But what happens when the outside doesn't reflect what is going on the inside and all the hard work? Like I work so hard at my diet and exercising and loving people and trying to love myself and sometimes I'm just covered in psoriasis, and it's like it is such an emotional mind fuck. It really is. And I'm so grateful that I'm evolved enough on this journey of mine to know that it's an inside job and to know that I just have to continue doing the work and continue trusting that I'm going to heal forever at some point when I'm ready to. But right now I'm really struggling at loving my body because I have a lot of spots of psoriasis. I'm controlling what I can. I'm trying to figure out what exercise is right for me because I'm just very confused with that because I like think I love something and I love something and I do one thing and then, I change my mind and then I like one day I'm motivated, one day I'm not. It's like this constant roller coaster with exercise. And I look back, it's been that way my whole life. And I just, I know what I enjoy, but it just doesn't feel consistent enough. The enjoyment doesn't feel consistent enough. It's like I'm reaching and striving. And I do that with food and I do that with exercise. And I'm just tired. And I just want to like walk around with total confidence and feel amazing about myself. And I don't. And you know what I think I'm learning the most is that that's okay. Like, that's okay. It doesn't make me look bad. It doesn't make me wrong. It doesn't make me not a good teacher of self-love. It doesn't mean any fucking thing, like at all. Right? Thank you, Juge.
Yes. Thank you for being so vulnerable, Kim.
I was
feel
just gonna
that
say
was
Yeah,
that.
thank you for
so
sharing that.
important. That was
That's
so
great.
important because we can sit here all day long talking about self-love and talking about, all the things that, contribute, because it's not just one thing. And I love that you just said that because I feel like people just need to know, like, no, we don't love ourselves 100% all the time. I'm not sitting around here going like, yep, this is the hottest thing since sliced bread all the time. Like, it's cyclical a lot of the time. And, you know, you're not obligated as a teacher of self-love to love yourself 100% of the time.
Yeah.
And you know,
And
there's no guru. I hate the word guru, but like there are plenty of people who've made a living and a following and have this enormous career teaching other people how to do whatever. And they fail at it too. So it's like, hello, hashtag human. It's like,
yeah, and you know,
can
like
we
we
just cut ourselves some slack?
And like we said before, it's an inside job. I mean, you have that correlation generally about having a sick, great, amazing body and feeling great, right? Or not. But what is it? What is that feeling that you carry inside of you? What is the feeling that you are living with? And I feel that that is all that matters, because my body is about the same as it was 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, right? But after my last big surgery that I had and got cut up in many different places, I'm very scarred. And I felt differently then than I do today. Same body, right? And so it
Mhm.
wasn't like anything majorly changed.
Mhm.
But
No, it is. A lot of it's in here.
yeah, a lot of it's
Most
there.
of it's in here.
and
Yeah.
do you know how I know it's an inside job? Like, no one can tell me it's not. And I know this for a fact, because when my own husband says to me, you're beautiful inside and out, no matter what's on your skin, no matter if you've gained a few pounds, no matter what you wear, like, I think you look great. You look gorgeous. And those words are so sweet, but I don't feel that way. So it's like, that's how I know, because I have to feel it. And when I feel it, then I'll be able to take his words and they'll like totally like land differently. Right now, I'm just like, oh, that's so sweet. I wish I felt that way.
But you know what? You may not feel that way, but embrace the idea that you're making your husband feel that way no matter what.
Yeah,
You're
that feels
creating
good.
that, you know?
Yeah, that feels good. And I know what it feels like to love my body. I know what it feels like to love my skin. I've been there many times. It's not like I've never had those moments. Like, I know how good it feels. And that's why it doesn't feel good when I'm not in that place, because I know how good it is on that side. I want to get back over there.
One of the things that I wanted to say before, and I didn't feel it was that appropriate because like, Kim, you're like pouring your heart out to us and everything. But when we talk about living from the inside out, there's a spiritual side to that. And there's also a physical side to that, because I find that so I think you all know this, but I have like a section of my meditation in the morning where I just focus on gratitude. And the first thing that I talk about is my health. And I literally go into detail. I go into detail about the organs in my bodies. I literally list them all. And I talk about all the muscles and veins and arteries that are keeping my miraculous body alive. The fact that I can see and hear and taste and smell and touch, that the systems are working properly. Like, we can't take that for granted. That is our body, right? And so if you can wake up every morning, like, yes, of course you can go right to the shit that goes wrong and what we don't like, how this looks in it. But if you can put the pause button on for a second and just really sit with the fact that you're a walking miracle, you will start to, I think it also helps people take better care of themselves. Like, if you don't take care of your body, it's not going to take care of you. And we're all, guess what? We're all getting older. God willing, we'll all live to old age. We're all going in the same direction. Whatever you have right now, whether you think you're hot or ugly or disgusting or fat, whatever it is, that's your body. This is what you've been given, your one precious meat suit, as we call it. And we have to be grateful for it.
Well, and I just want to add, just to whoever's listening to this, that it's so important, like, where I really believe words become things. So, my morning practice definitely includes gratitude. It includes affirmations. When I'm in the bathroom, like I'm in a practice of saying really kind things to myself, especially to my skin. Like, I talk to my skin. Like, I really, it's a practice. And sometimes I forget, sometimes I don't, whatever. Sometimes I have Post-its that are all over my computer. But I swear it works. I can start to go down a rabbit hole of negative self-talk. And I just now with my practice, I snap out of it pretty quickly compared to in the past. And I dedicate all of that. I contribute all of that to this practice of focusing and being conscious of the words I choose and the focus of being kind to myself. And it really takes my concentration, and it's worth every moment. And it's also, there's like having friends that support you. I mean, there are just no words for having supportive people in your life who you can go to and tell them, I'm feeling really crappy about myself right now. I'm not looking to you to, lift me up in every way, shape, or form and tell me I'm beautiful, but you'll give me that look. You'll give me a hug. You'll just sit there and listen. You'll be empathetic, whatever you'll do. But it's so important to be surrounded by loving people.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes you just can't give yourself that love.
Yeah. And I feel like what I want to piggyback on that is this idea of like radical acceptance too, because I just remember like you just were talking, Kim, about like how you were doing everything right, and I remember like when I was getting divorced, I gained like a good 30 pounds, which felt like it came out of nowhere, by the way. It was just like one day I woke up and I was 30 pounds heavier, and I went to the doctor and I was like, that can't be right on the scale. And they were like, oh no, this is the most accurate scale there is. And I was like, okay, I know exactly what it is that I need to do. And I did the workout, I did the cutting out of all the things. And like, I was working at a health and wellness center at the time. So there was all of these things there that were available to me, saunas, cryo, blah, blah, blah. Did that all the time. And like, the weight was not coming off. It was just not coming off. And then one day I was just like, I guess this is my weight now. Because I asked the doctor, I was like, should I be worried? Like, this is the heaviest I've ever been in my adult life. And the doctor was like, you're technically still within range of being in a healthy weight class. And so, like, what are you doing? And I was like, well, I exercise, and they're like, all right, well, you're healthy, so keep going. And so I just like radically accepted that this was my weight now. And I remember like even thinking about the idea of like dating after marriage. And I was like, well, this is the weight that I'm going to be dating at, so might as well accept it. And I remember like taking some pictures of myself in my underwear, like at my heaviest, and being like, okay, this is it. So when I actually ended up losing the weight, it was not on purpose. It was just like, eventually my body was like, okay, you're over this really stressful hump, which it was very stressful. I was racked with guilt. I was not right within myself, but I was like slowly coming out of that. And eventually the weight literally just fell off, not on purpose, not because I didn't love myself, not because I wanted to lose the weight, but because this is how my body naturally is. And I actually kind of always knew that, but radically accepting it made it that much more easy to live with myself. And I mean, gosh, it was not easy. It was not easy to be like, I guess this is who I am now. And I remember actually we were doing a workshop. Kim, do you remember this? We were doing a workshop for teachers, and I was at my heaviest. And one of the things that I did in the workshop is I stood on a scale.
Oh, right.
And I had somebody from the audience come up and read what it said on the scale. And this woman came up and she was like, I don't want to. And I was like, do it. Tell everybody in the audience how much I weigh. Because I was like, damn it, I'm just going to accept this and I don't care who knows it. So I was,
That's amazing.
That's bold. That's bold, and more power to you. That's
And you-
powerful.
And you know what? In doing that, I feel like you almost set yourself free. And I just want to
Totally.
add one quick thing. It reminds me of this woman that I used to know. And I met her in there's like psoriasis forums online, and I met her there and we became friends over time. And remember I was having a nice, long, deep conversation with her. And I think she was at the age of like 77 or 75, something. She was in her 70s. And she had, some psoriasis on her skin. And in one of our conversations, I'll never forget this because it just really struck a chord with me. And it's exactly what you're saying, Shuj. She so subtly said, yeah, I realized that I can live with some psoriasis on my skin. It's not the end of the world. I can live with it. And it was just so subtle the way she said it. And I remember just being like, what? You what? You can? Because I can't. But I found myself going to those thoughts lately. Like, if it's just a couple spots, like whatever, So, but when it's more than a
Perspective.
couple of spots, that's a whole different story. But you know what? I know what, Zhuzh, that gives me a lot to think about. So thank you for saying that.
awesome. Well, this show is all about provoking some new thoughts. And I feel like that's actually a really good place to wrap it up. We hope you enjoyed our conversation as much as we did. If you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel and be sure to let us know if you have any topic requests or questions by commenting below. We'll see you soon. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, everyone.
Bye.